has a number of arrangements in order by conductors, by composers, last name alphabetically. For the majority of what we sing, there are Ilici and Christu Твоему. Ilici is for special господские праздники, when we commemorate when the special thing about Christine, and Christu Твоему obviously is services that are focused on the cross. Okay. Now, for the first two, Благослови and Хвали, these are called often antiphony, and the reason is because they're often sung antiphonally. We do that sometimes. They get changed out by special antiphony on certain holidays. And the one that will come to mind, the easiest, is on Троица, Преображение, Господские праздники. They'll have special antiphony, and then Молитвами Богородицы спаси, спаси, and then another one, Молитвами, and they'll. So these two will be replaced from the normal thing that we sing on Sunday by special antiphony on Господские праздники. The third antiphon, Заповеди Блаженства, in those same cases will not be sung, but will be sung as a third antiphon, which, if you recall, is a stich that somebody reads, we sing the Troparion. There's another stich, we sing the Troparion. So that's how this part of the service will change on Господские праздники.
But the Единородное синее always stays.
Единородное синее always stays. As a matter of fact, there was an issue many years ago where there was an altar server that sort of jumped the gun on that. And the choir master, who was a very knowledgeable seminary graduate, all A's in liturgy, insisted on singing this, and the priest was angry that there's a whole unplugged. But the important takeaway for me, Единородный is always there, whereas these will change if there's a special commemoration. Okay. As far as for choir members where to find this stuff, it's really pretty much, where it is. There's no hidden stuff here. Молив ход is typically where Придите поклонимся is, and we have the text-based one that we always did, the simple one. We have Константина, we have the греческий распев, and so forth. So not a lot to be talking, to worry about here. Yeah, and actually even mention the Pridite поклонимся. So then we get to the second part of liturgy. Again, from the standpoint of where stuff is in the book, this should be fairly straightforward, okay? The three Iktinya that we sing before Hierodimska, the first two are about the catechumens. Okay? One says catechumens depart, and the other prays for the catechumens. The third one is actually Ilici Verni. That's the one that really begins the liturgy of the faithful. And so after it comes Hierodimskая песнь. During Hierodimskая песнь, there's the Перенесение, the translation of the gifts from the Жертвенник. Help me out. No.
Sacrifice table.
Sacrifice table to the престол. Okay? And the way that that's done is actually, that's Великий вход. So when we're through singing the first part of Hierodimska, okay, and Отец Стефан and the altar service all come out, Великий вход, that's actually the translation of the gifts from the offering table to престол. And that's also representative of Christ's entry into Jerusalem a week before his passion. So this is a very special moment. And when we sing Yakuta Tserya, okay, that's when we're representing those who are taking up a leader, the way that they did in Roman times. When you had somebody that went out and conquered big lands and was a big hero, the way that they would honor that person is they would have some sort of a a chair, for lack of a better thing, that they would hoist up on their spears. And so this hero would be sitting on a chair, hoisted up in the air on the spears of soldiers. And that's the way they would parade him through the city, and they throw flowers at him and cheer and so forth. That's the image that we're singing about in Yahweh Tzaddik as a tzad, as a god. And that's his entrance, if you remember, the entrance to Jerusalem. Veru, so there's Itzini after the Cherubimske. Veru is, as you know, is a precise and concise definition of our faith, as it happens today. And Marina Kludviana, just reminded me. Today, when we sang Veru, we were singing that stuff that those at sea, at the ecumenical councils, that they determined to define our faith. Kind of a special moment today in the service. Milas Mira, so between here and here, there's after Vera comes Milas Mira, and that is, as you know, is the point in the service during Tzidei Koyem, when the bread and wine actually turn to the body and blood of the Lord. Dostojno jest, actually, as we're singing Tzidei Koyem, after that event happens, the priest is praising and thanking God for that, and he especially izrядно, unconventionally, izrядно, he makes an appeal to the Mother of God for us and for those of us who are in the other world. And that's why he says izrядно, and we sing Dostojno jest, or O Тебе радуется ангелов Яхве, all of which have to do with the Mother of God. And we glorify her in response to the priest as he's making his gratitude for everything that has occurred during Tzidei Koyem. The next section, and as far as where to find stuff, okay, all the Milas Mira are in order by conductor. There's the Itzini and Veru are all in one section. First Itzini, then the various types of Veru. Dostojno jest, that's a little trickier. The first part of the Dostojno jest tab has each of the Dostojno jest that we sing. Then it sort of changes from Dostojno jest to O Тебе радуется. So all of the Dostojno jest, this is from A to Z, or whatever the last letter is. Then O Тебе радуется alphabetically, and ангелов Яхве alphabetically. So if you're in a Sunday service and you're looking for Chesnokov's Dostojno jest, and you see O Тебе радуется, back up. Okay? If we're in Великий Post and we just did Milas Mira, and we need to do O Тебе радуется, and you find yourself looking at Dostojno jest, go forward. If we're in Paschalia, and we have Ангелов Яхве the same, and you're in either one of these, keep going to the end of the tab.
Okay, so you will not say in Dostojno есть to look for партнерский о тебе радуйся. You will say о тебе радуйся, and then relate to that.
Yeah, I mean, 85 times out of 100 it'll say Dostojno jest партнерского. So you go to this tab, and very shortly you hit партнерский. If it's Великий Post, O Тебе радуется Смоленского, that'll be down here someplace. Ангелов Яхве, Litkovskого.
Okay, so we have to memorize this.
Yeah, just, and the tab says exactly that, and that's the order in which
Yes,
they're.
it does.
Okay. All right. So then the next section is really preparation for communion. And it features the Prositsenny Ktenia, which has its own little section, and then a whole bunch of different versions of Otche Nat. Okay. One thing that's not, a couple of things that are not in our books as a tab is Yedin Sviat Yestin. So I forget right now what the Gospels is before that. Oh, святая святых, and we sing, Един свят, Един Господь Иисус Христос, и слава Богу Отца. There's no real tab for this. There are several sections after Otche Nach that have varieties of that. Kedrov is one, Konstantinov is another that you'll find in here. But generally, we just basically sing this straight. And then Причастные стихи. Причастные стихи are commemoration specific, okay? On a routine with unimportant quote-unquote saints. Воскресный причастный стих «Исхвалите Господа с небес» and no others. Today, we had «Хвалите Господа с небес» because it's a Sunday service, and we had «Радуйтесь праведнее Господи» because we're commemorating the fathers of the ecumenical councils. Okay? So the причастные стихи are in according to the Typikon, okay? And the way these are probably the hardest to find for choir members, because they go from «Хвалите Господа с небес» to the text in alphabetical order by composer in alphabetical order. Okay, so you need at least a college degree to find that. And then after that section, we have «Разные песнопения», wherein we've put as the first thing the Tropare Vstretenia that we sing anytime a child is brought into the church the first time, because that's sort of their Vstretenia. And then other things. And the other things, as some of you may have noticed today, there are 3 or 4 works in that section that are specific to all Russian saints. The Stihira that we sang at the end, Domnye Fratov, and there's others. There's Velichanya, I think Tretьяков is in there, I'm not sure. But the purpose of that originally, when I constructed the book, was that at any point in time, if we needed something that was really very much our church oriented, we could easily find it here. Normally what we'll do is we'll sing причастные стихи as we've done, you know, as we do all the time. And then rather than do this, we go to our brown books that have room for all of the other stuff. Okay? So this is the point during which the altar services take communion. Okay? So as we sing these things, this actually, «Разные песнопения» has been sort of a controversial part of church choir singing. Typically, well, not typically, but in some cases, they sang причастные стихи as fast as they could on one note, on one chord, get it done, so that they could do some sort of concert work. Okay? And some clergy said, you know, we're taking communion at that point in time. So these things really need to be very congruent with a very solemn moment. So and this, you know, was back in history and it recurs every now and then. This is why the причастные стихи that we tend to sing are not terribly elaborate, but at the same time are not throwaway one tones either. Okay, so that there's something there that you know has a little substance to it. And the selection of «Разные песнопения», what I tried to do is to adhere to the commemoration that's happening. Okay? One of them today, because of the commemoration of the Mother of God icon at Kazan, this was a very simple Velichanya. But I felt it had to be in the service because during the last week it was commemorated. And so that's sort of, you know, that's a judgment call, but that's how I tend to approach it. Тело Христово, obviously, причащение мирян, and Витиком святейственный да исполнится, that is expressing gratitude for communion. Okay, we're almost done. At the end of this «Хвалите душа моя Господа», or the second Antiphon and Единородный Сыне, there is no break. The priest doesn't have anything to say. So between here and here, that's a rapid fireplace. So as you're preparing your books, and as you're about to sing «Хвали душа моя Господа», make sure that you're ready to flip to the right that you know what you're seeing without getting a big interruption. Towards the end of the service, in the preparatory part before communion, after Otchanach is Yedin Sviat, and then Prичастные стихи. This is another place where there's no intonation by the clergy. So ideally, we need to keep, things moving. So in this place, Prичастные стихи are probably one of the more complicated things for choir members to find. I talk about them about 5 minutes before liturgia starts. So those people who are there and listening, please pay particular attention to this, because this can be a real mess if we don't. And it's too important a part of the service to not be done solemnly. For those of you who arrive after the beginning of liturgy, you're missing the opportunity to set this up in your book, okay, as well as to look at the Bible lists. So, Vespers and Matins, very commemoration specific. For those of you who are not able to attend Vespers and Matins and are opera lovers, it's a little bit like coming at the third act. Yeah, you get to hear the finale, but there's an awful lot of story that you have no idea what happened. So I would really very, very much encourage coming to Vespers and Matins. And it's one of the few ways where on a routine basis you can reflect on both the Old and the New Testament in the matter of a couple of hours. Speaking of which, one of the things that most people get scared of about Vespers and Matins, it's a long service. It actually isn't. Last night we started at 6, we were done by 8.